Okay, so today is Sunday special class, and this class is for XML processing APIs. So let's see what kind of support we have here in Java to process XML data. Okay, and I'm going to also teach you people what is XML first of all. We'll start with basics of XML. We'll try to understand what is the need for XML. Okay, so let's start with XML. Then we'll say how to process XML data. So XML, it stands for extensible markup language. Extensible markup language. So XML is called as a markup language. You might have heard about it, right? So when I say a markup language, so what exactly does it means? Especially markup means I'm sorry. I'm talking about this XML markup language. XML, extensible markup language, or XML. So what do you people know about this XML? Can you people tell me? Okay, it is used in transportation of data. Yes, that's right, exactly. So applications use XML to transmit the data. Yes, or to transport the data. Yes. And what else? It's a standard way of transferring data. Yes, that is also right. So I can say that XML, it represents data. XML, it represents data. Yes. So when I say it represents the data, what does that mean? XML is not just used for transmitting the data, but it is used in many different ways. You can say multi-purpose. Yeah. So XML, I can say that this is one way of representing the data. This is one of the ways here to represent the data. Yes. So far, I can say that you people are familiar with few data representations. Okay, XML is also used to represent the data, but prior to this XML, we are familiar with at least a couple of data representations, I can say, and we have worked with it. Can you people tell me what are the data representations which we have worked with? Yes. HTML is not used to represent the data, but I can say it is used to present the data. Representing data is different from presenting the data. Okay. You know, one way of representing the data is Java objects. Am I right? We saw Java objects. So yes, Java objects basically used to represent data, I can say. And what else? What are the other data representations which you people are familiar with? Yes. Yes. Database. So in database, how the data is represented, you can say row or a tuple. This is one way of representing the data. So we have worked with Java objects, and we have worked with database records rows. Right? Yeah. Fine. Now XML is another way. This is one more standard way of representing the data, I can say. This is another standard way of representing the data, I can say. Yes. Fine. So let's talk about this XML here. So here I'm going to use w3schools.com for this. So you got very good information over there. Good tutorials are there for XML. Okay. Yeah. You see, there are some important points here which we need to understand regarding XML. So XML was designed to store the data as well as to, you see, in XML files we can store the data as well as to transport the data or to transmit the data, I can say. To transmit the data. Yes. So that is how XML is used. Okay. You know, this is one of the standards. This is one of the widely accepted standard. Okay. XML data representation is one of the most widely accepted way of representing the data. Okay. Yes. Now here I want you people to also make a note of this point. XML was designed to be self-descriptive. It's very well, it is basically self-descriptive itself. Okay, yes. It is actually self-descriptive. So what is the main difference between HTML and XML? Can you people tell me? You see, HTML is a markup language. XML is also a markup language. I can say both are markup languages. So what is the difference between XML and HTML? Yes, yes, HTML, okay, it describes how the content has to be displayed, okay, and XML carries actual data, okay, fine. So one more important difference is you will find that you know HTML tags, they're basically predefined tags. Your HTML tags, they are predefined tags. Am I right? HTML tags. How about XML? I can say they user defined tags. Unlike HTML, your XML tags are not predefined. XML tags are not predefined. They are user defined tags. Okay. So that is one more difference. That is one of the differences I can say. Okay. Yes. And as you people said, basically HTML is used to present the data, whereas XML it only represents the data and used for transmitting the data. That's it. Okay. So when I say XML is used to represent the data, so what exactly that means? Let me explain it with an example. Okay. So for suppose here you got some XML data this way. You see, in the XML you'll have full of tags or elements. I can say XML elements, or I can say tags. You see, now what exactly we have here in this XML document? What details or what data you got here in this XML document here? I can say that basically it's a note for a person called as Tau, and this note is from a person called as Jenny. And the heading of this note is reminder, and you see the message here in this notice, don't forget me this weekend. Yeah. So this is a note, right? Now how we are able to understand that basically it is a note and this is for a particular person and this is from a particular person. So how do we understand these details here from the note? Yes, the tags. Yes, the tags here, you see they represent the data, and you see they're describing this data. I can see the tags are basically representing the data, or I can say it is the tags are describing the data. Yes. So that is what your HTML tags do here. Okay. Yes. For suppose if I remove this tags, this if I remove this XML tags here, whatever we have, so I'll do this. Okay. Will you be able to understand what exactly we have here? Can we can we easily make out what exactly this data is without the tags? If we strip off the tags, now is it easy for us to understand what exactly this data is? You see any difference with tags and without tags? Now, without that XML tags, yes, of course, it is difficult to make out what exactly you have here, what data exactly you got here, right? So it would be difficult for us. So with tags, now you know it's easy for us to understand this data. See, now it is descriptive. So that XML, you see, it represents that data. It describes the data, right? Yes, it is self-descriptive as well. So this is what I mean to say. XML, it represents the data. Okay, XML actually it represents the data here. Yes. Okay. Hope you people got it. Fine. Now XML mainly you'll find that it is used in many different ways. XML is used in many different ways. One of the applications of XML is to transmit the data. Yes, you know the applications, they will exchange the data in the form of XML itself. Two applications, they can exchange the data or they can transmit the data, okay, which is in this XML format. Yes. But you know, when two applications are trying to exchange the data, which is in the XML format, you may have some issues which we need to understand. Okay. Yes. Let's see what is it. For example, here, let's say I have two applications. Let's say application 1 or application A, let's say. And application B. Okay. Okay. We have two applications. Now, now application A, you know what here? It transmits that XML data to application B, let's say, or the network or whatever it is. Okay. Yes. Through some source, through some medium, that XML data is transmitted to application B. What is that XML data? Let's say it is a note which we just saw, right? That XML data, it is transmitted across to that application B through the network, let's say. Application A, it transmits the data to application B across the network. You know what? When this data is transmitted across the network, for suppose during the transit, let's say there was some issue and the data got truncated. For suppose, let's say one of the element was deleted, was lost. Okay. So this data, now it is corrupted. One of the elements, due to some issue during the during the transit, it was deleted. Let's say it was removed. Originally, application A, okay, it sent the complete data. Originally, application A has sent the complete data. Let's say, but application B, while it is receiving it, it 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 was only able to take this data here. One element, that heading element, was missing. Let's say that element heading was missing. Now, how the application B will be able to make out? Application B receives this data from A, right? Application B receives the data from A. Now, how B will be able to make out that, okay, during the transit there was some data loss, the data was truncated. Okay. So how the application B will be able to understand it? Yes. What do people think? You people understood the question first of all? Yes, all of you. Hope you understood the question, right? Yeah, now you see, as I told you people, like application A is passing or transmitting the data to application B. Let's say that node which we saw, that XML data, that node, let's say it is transmitted to application B over the network. Okay. Now the question is here, during the transmit, not question, first of all, I'm sorry. During the transit, let's say there was some data loss. The data was truncated. There was some data loss. The data got truncated. You see, application B was not able to receive one of the XML elements. Let's say that no, that reminder, that element was lost during the transit. Now the question is how the application B will be able to make out that there was some data loss during the transit, how it will be able to understand that there was some data loss during the transit, and it didn't get the complete data, it got only partial data, how it will be able to make out, or how it will be identifying it, how it can identify. So what do you people think? We define template B. Okay, so I got some answers. First of all, let me see these answers. We define template B side and validate it against it. We want a template, okay, by parsing XML tags. Now the question is, how will you know? These are all user-defined tags, right? These are all user-defined tags. That's the problem. This issue, you see, mainly it occurs because of because the XML tags are user-defined tags. They are not predefined tags. Okay, just a minute, please. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So because these are all predefined tags, we have this issue. Sorry, user defined tags. If they are standard tags, okay, if you got some standard template like this, maybe you can understand. But that is not the case here, right? Yes. So we got a solution for this. What is it? This is where your DTDs come into the picture. DTD, document type definitions. Yes, document type definitions. Schemas are also there. First, we'll start with document type definitions. What is a document type definition? Yes. Any idea? Is anyone familiar with this DTDs, or document type definitions? Okay, don't worry, I'll explain. So, you know, this DTDs, they're going to help the applications to validate this data. Okay, You see, you can make a note of this. So what is DTD? DTD means the purpose of DTD is to define the structure of an XML document. It defines the structure with the list of legal elements. Okay, basically using a DTD, we can define the structure of the XML document. In that XML document, in the DTD, you'll have the complete details about that XML document. That means what elements, you know, are legal, which elements are legal, okay, and what is the structure of those elements. You say that means which element is a sub element of another element. You'll find that you may have several XML elements, right? So in an element, again, you may have sub elements. Now what are all the sub elements of an element? What sub elements you got here for a particular element? For example, in this case, you see, so in case of note, you see note is one of the element. You see the details about that note will be added to that DTD. And in the note, how many sub elements we have here? Sub element means an element which is inside another element. Now how many sub elements we got here? Can you people tell me? How many sub elements we have here? 4 sub elements are there. Okay, yes. And what are those sub elements? Even the list of sub elements which you can have, the legal set of sub elements which you can have in that note element, all the details will be described in the DTD. All those details, every detail about the XML document, you'll find it in the DTD, document type definition, so which can be used to validate the XML document, I can say. It can be used to validate the XML document. Yes. So that is what a DTD is. Okay. So now we got couple of statements. I want you people to just check this, make a note of it. There is some disturbance today, I'm sorry. So an XML document with correct syntax is called well formed. That means in an XML document, if you got all the legal elements which you are supposed to have, then I can say it is well formed. I can say it is well formed. How do we check whether an XML document is well formed or not? You see, it should be validated against DTD. Please make a note of it. Please make a note of these points. Let me know once you're done. Okay. So you see, we can validate an XML document with the help of the DTD because we have the complete details about that XML document in that DTD. Okay. Because we got the complete details about that XML document in the DTD. What are all the elements you can have? The complete structure of the XML document is defined in the DTD. So it can be used to validate. DTD can be used to validate an XML document, I can say. So that means now you see here for that XML document we need to define a DTD. I'll show you people how it looks like. For suppose here I got the DTD in a separate file. Let's say I have a file. The name of this file is, let's say, note.dtd. Generally, the data type the DTDs, you'll find that you'll add them to a .dtt file. Okay, yes, you'll add it them to .dtt file. Just read this DTD once. I'm sorry, just read it once. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. So you see, now this is your DTD, document type definition, predefined in the sense we have to define the structure now. Okay. Okay. You need to define the structure. Yes. So now this is a DTD for that XML note which we saw. For that note here, this is a DTD. Now it is described completely. You got all the details here. So what details you have here? You see it says we got a note, element called as note, and the list of sub elements for that note. You see we got the details about the sub elements. So what are all the sub elements? See it says to, from, heading and body. These are the sub elements, right? Next you see element called as 2 is there. You see even that element 2 is described here. It is mentioned here. And in the brackets PC data is there. What does that means? That means, you know, here in this element 2 we can store the data. Okay, we can only store the data. PC data means it indicates that in this element you can only have content. You cannot add a sub element here. Okay, same is the case for from can also hold some data. Heading also can hold some data. Body also can hold some data. Okay, yes, that's it. So this way a DTD is defined. Let's say the name of this DTD is note.dtt. Now you want to make sure that here whenever this XML document is parsed, you know, any application which which will process this XML document, it has to check for that DTD. Okay, yes. So how will you specify that DTD details? This way. Let's say within the same machine, within the same directory where you have this XML document, we have the DTD, let's say. Now you'll specify the details this way here. You see, doc type note system dot doc type note system note.dtt. That means here in the same machine, in the local machine itself, on the file system, now we have a file with the name note.dtt, where in which you will have the document type definition defined here for this XML document. So this XML document should follow that DTD. Okay. So while processing this XML document, you see first of all, this XML document should be validated using that DTD. Okay, yes. So that is what it indicates here. So in simple terms, I can say that now this XML document, it follows that DTD document type definition, which is defined in note.dtd. Okay, yes, that's it. So is it clear for you people? Hope you people got it. What is this DTD? Now you see the application A and B, they both will comply to that DTD. They both will have this DTD, okay, with them. And application A, so after it is done creating that XML document with some by adding some XML data to it. See, first of all, it will check whether that XML document is well formed. It will validate that XML document against that DTD. It will validate it against the DTD, I can say. Once the application A finds out that XML document is successfully validated against that DTD, so what it does, it will send that XML data to the other application. It will transmit it, I can say, across the network. Now application B receives this data. Once it receives this data, now it has to check whether, you see, this data is well formed or not. It has to check whether this data is well formed or not. That means what are all the legal elements which you need to have in that XML document, whether they are present or not, and whether that XML document, you see, it is that structure of that XML document is same as that structure which is defined in the document type definition. So there should not be any deviation in that structure, I can say. Okay. Yes. Then I can say that XML document is well formed. Yes, it is well formed. So it is successfully validated. There is no data loss, or there is no truncation here, I can say. There is no loss of data or truncation. So application B can use it. Oh, as I told you people, both the applications will have a copy of this TTD. There's no rule that there should be only one copy of this TTD. It can be on a remote machine also. In that case, you have to use a URL of that DTD. Okay, you can use the URL of the DTD. So hope you people got it. Yes. So this is one way of defining the structure of the XML documents, which can be used to validate the data and all. Yes. Now, there is another approach which we can use here to define that XML structures and all. You know what is it? One way to define this XML structures and all here is DTD. There is one more option for us to describe the DTD, to describe the XML document structures and all, so that it can be used to validate the XML documents. So what is the other option which you got here? You got something called as XML schemas also, okay, which I also use for the same purpose. The way a DTD defines the structure of an XML document, similarly you have XML schemas. XML schema definitions, I can say. XML schema definitions I can say, which are used to also describe the structure of the XML document. They are also used to describe the structure of the XML document I can say. Yes. So XML schema and definitions, that is what we say. In short, it is called as XSD. XSD. Yeah. So, but the purpose of XSD is also same as DTD to describe the structure of the XML document. But how is XSD different from DTD? Can you people tell me how your XSD is different from DTD? Yes. Any idea? No. I can say that XSDs are better than DTDs. You'll find that yes, you'll find that XSDs are more descriptive. XSDs are more descriptive compared to DTDs. XSDs are more descriptive compared to DTDs, I can say. Yes. Now, first of all, it is better to go through this XSDs first before we compare it with your DTDs. Okay. Yeah. And also make a note of it. Just a minute. You see, an XML schema describes the structure of an XML document, same as just like a DTD. An XML document with correct syntax is called well-formed. You know that. An XML document validated against an XML schema is both well-formed and valid. If we can successfully validate an XML document against an XML schema, okay, if we can validate an XML document successfully with an XML schema, then I can say that that XML document is well formed. The XML document is well formed. Okay, yes, fine, and it is valid as well. You can say. So, you know, I'll show you people the main difference between XML schemas and DTDs. Let's see. Now, first of all, let's see how this XML schema looks like. Okay, this is the XML schema for that XST. Okay, so you see you have the complete details, I can say. First of all, you see you got an element called as note, and this note element, within the note element, now you see we got a sub element. It says complex type. It says this note element, I can say that it is a complex type element. So what do we mean by a complex type element? Yes, what do people think? What do we mean by complex type element? Complex type element means an element in which you have sub elements. The element in which you'll have sub elements. Okay, the element in which you got sub elements. It's a complex type element. And you see, what are the sub elements and what is the sequence here? The sequence is this: to, from, heading, body. To, from, heading, and body here. Yes. Okay. So now you'll find that here, not only that element details are described, not only that element name is mentioned here, but you see that element type is also mentioned. You see that element name, what is it, to? So it is what type of element? It is string type. That means that element 2, it can take a value which is of type string. Okay, that element 2 can only take string value. So even you see, if you see the other elements here, you see from, it says string type string. That means in that element from, we can only have string value. Similarly, heading also should be string type, but actually you can specify some other types also. The types here always, they need not be string type. You have other types also. Is the string type Java type? I can say no. The string type which you have mentioned here, it is not Java type. Okay, it is XML type itself. Okay, so does it check the sequence as well? Yes, you see we have mentioned the sequence, right? So it will check for the sequence also. So if you have mentioned it, definitely it will do that. Yes. So what is the major difference you found here between XML and DTD? Yes. So what do you people think? What is the major difference? The type details, okay. So we can specify the type details, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Not only this data type details, yeah, the sequence, and not only that, you know what, here you will find that further we can add some constraints or restrictions also here for the data. Okay, so we can also add some restrictions to this data which has to be added to this XML elements. Now each XML element will hold some data, right? We can add some restrictions also here. So let's see how to do that. Okay, yes, let's see. You see, for example, if you consider this example here which you got, the highlighted code, you'll find that we got the XML schema details of a particular element whose name is age, right? So this is schema, XML schema of age, element called as age. Now it is simple type element. So what do we mean by simple type? That means in this element you will not have any sub elements. This element is not going to hold any sub elements. So in this element you'll only have data, I can say. In this element you'll find that you'll only have data. Yes. Okay. Yes. That is what it indicates. Now there is a restriction here which we have, which is mentioned here. Base attribute. You see, in order to add a restriction or a condition, we use this base attribute. So base equal to integer. So what does that means? It indicates that that value which is stored here in this element should be integer type. Okay, the value here which we store in that element, which element? Age element should be integer type. And you see, the min inclusive, that means the least value which we can store in that element is 0, and the maximum value is also mentioned here. It is how much? 120. Okay, maximum value is 120. Yes. So this way, you see, we can add restrictions. That means, you see, the age group should be between 0 through 120. That's it. The age group has to be between 0 through 120. That is what it indicates. Yes. So hope you people got it. Yes, everything is user defined. Simple type. No, they are predefined. We are using them to describe the structure of the XML document. These are not XML document elements. Instead, you see, they are, though they are XML elements, but not specific to our document. Generally, we use this XML schemas, or the elements, whatever you see here in the XML schema, they are predefined. They've got specific meaning for them. Okay. Okay, so hope you people got it. So this way, you see, we can add restrictions. You see, this XST is XML schema definitions are very descriptive or more descriptive here compared to your DTDs, right? They're expressive, they're more descriptive. Fine. Next, we got another restriction here. Without looking this explanation, yeah, can you people just tell me what exactly it means here? This restriction on that element. What is that element car? On that particular element car. So, what is the restriction which you got here? Okay, it takes three enum types. Okay, and what else? Only three cars are accepted. It can be only three brands. Yes, you see, that means into that element XML element car, we can only store one of that values. It should be either Audi, Golf, or BMW. Only one of these three values will be allowed. We can assign it to that element, to that XML element car. That's it. Okay, the car element value should be either Audi, Golf, or BMW. That's it. Next, okay, the same XML schema description which you got here, you see, it can be also described here this way. The same thing, both the same. What you're looking at, both the same. Yeah. Next, we got another restriction here. You see, sorry, yeah, another restriction for a different element. Let's say we got an element called as letter. The element name is letter. So that element, you see, is simple type. That means you can only have or store value in that element. The restriction based string. That means that element can take only string value. Next, the pattern here. See, small a to z. That in the square brackets we have. Okay. Yes. So what does that mean? You see, that means that XML element, you'll find that that XML element called as name can only take one character. That too, it should be in small case. It should be in small case, you can say. Yes. Just one character, single character. That too, it should be small case, I can say. Yes. Now you people tell me about this. Don't see the description. Just look at this code, highlighted code, and tell me. Don't read that notes, what you have over there. Yes. So what's the answer? So this restriction here, it indicates that that element XML element with the name initials, you'll find that it can take string value, and that value you say should be this. That means the characters in that string should be in uppercase, and you can have three characters in that string. You can have three characters. That means that initials here, it can take only three characters. That too, they should be in uppercase. Okay, yeah. So that is what the restriction indicates. Now, what about this one? At least now you people tell me. What about this restriction? Sorry. Yeah, tell me about this restriction. This one. Yes. You see, in that XML element, you should have 3 letters or 3 characters. You'll have 3 characters. That characters can be either in uppercase or lowercase. It can be any alphabet. From A to Z, it can be any alphabet. It can be in uppercase or lowercase here. Yes. Okay. That is what it indicates. So sorry, there is some disturbance today. Hope you're getting some background noise, but I'm sorry. Please try to bear with me. So hope it is not disturbing much, right? Okay, good. Yes. Now you see again another restriction here. We got choice. Now this pattern indicates that the value of this element, XML element, can be one of this 3 characters. It can be X, Y, or Z. It can be one of the 3 characters, either X, Y, or Z. Yeah, it's okay if someone is getting married, but it's not okay if others are getting disturbed a lot. Why I'm telling you people is because sometimes this will go on till 1:30, 2 o'clock night, but it is really disturbing sometimes. If it is 1:30, 2 o'clock, again you'll have small kids, elders, their sleep will be disturbed a lot. That is not good. Our entertainment should not disturb others. Always we should keep that in mind, right? Yeah, couple of hours, 10 o'clock is fine. 9:30, 10, 10:30 maximum. Even the government rules us like that. But what happens is, yes, recently, last month itself, it went up to 1:30, 2 o'clock. I was not able to sleep whole night. In the morning again, it was very big issue. Ah, okay. So, sorry. Let's continue. You see, product ID, another XML element. This time you see this is pattern is different. It says integer value. That means it should be one of the integer values. It should be one of the integer. It should be integer value itself. Here, that integer value, in that integer value, how many digits we should have? See, each square, each box here, it indicates one digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits, I can say. Okay. Yes. So you'll find that you should have 5 digits. You should have 5 digits. And the digits can be from 0 through 9. That's it. Yes. That is what it indicates. Okay. Next, now you see this is another pattern. We got this restriction. Now, without looking at that explanation, Can you people tell me what exactly this restriction indicates? You see in that string, the first character has to be in small case. The first character is supposed to be in small case. Yes. Okay. And the remaining letters can be anything. The rest of the string here, in the rest of the string, the remaining letters can be anything. Yes. It doesn't matter. So hope you people got it. Yes. First character should be in lowercase. That is what it indicates. Okay. Yeah. And you see, this is interesting. This one. So the first character here should be small case. The second character should be in uppercase. Followed by that you have plus here. You see plus. That indicates that the same pattern should be followed after this. The same pattern should be followed. Yes. That means one character should be in small case, the second character should be in uppercase. Again small case, again uppercase, again small case and uppercase. You see, this is the example. This one. This way. So hope you people got it. You see, S is in small case, T in uppercase, O in small case, P in uppercase. Just make a note of it. These are rare expressions which you see generally, regular expressions. Okay. So hope you have done that. Now you see this one, gender. So one of the val it can be either male or female. One of these two values. That's it. It can be either male or female. Yes. Now the other restrictions, I want you people to check them. Okay, I'll give you this link here. You can go for this. Yes, so this is about your XML schemas. Now, did we see any applications of this XML schemas earlier? Yes. Did you people see any applications of this schema somewhere? XML schemas. So did you people see that? I can say yes, we did that. We saw both DTDs and XML schemas. I'll show you people. Just a minute. Okay. You see, the Hibernate configuration file is one of the examples where you can find DTD. You see this doc type, and you have this URL. You know what exactly that URL refers to here? That URL here, what exactly it refers, what exactly it is referring to? That is the location of the DTD. So it is on a remote machine. That is the URL. So it is on a remote machine, I can say. Okay. Yes. So hope you people got it. Yes. So now, what is the meaning of the TTD here? Why we are using it here? What it indicates? So it indicates that, you know, this XML document, okay, this XML document Hibernate cfg.xml file, it follows that DTD. It follows that DTD. Yes. So this XML document, it follows this DTD, which is described here. That is what it indicates. Yes. So hope you people got it. Yes, when this XML document is parsed, and you see if this document, if it doesn't follow that XML schema, yes, of course, it will throw exception. And we saw such errors also earlier. So in the last class itself, when I missed something, you got that error. I'm not sure how many of you people have noticed it. You can just try removing one of the elements, let's say session factory here, remove it and try to execute it. So when the XML document is parsed internally by the framework, you see, first of all, it will validate it. So if it finds that that element is missing, right? So it is going to throw the exception. Okay. Next, did you people see that schema example somewhere? Schema, XML schemas. Yes, that's right. You'll find that in the web.xml file, in the web.xml files, you'll find that we'll be using XML itself. You see, this is the URL of that XST. This one. You see this one in the beginning, highlighted one. So it indicates that this XML file here, it follows that XML XST file. Okay. Fine. So now this is about your XML schemas and XSTs. Let's move on. Let's talk about the XML processing APIs. Having understood XML, okay, there is one more thing. Why we have to represent the data in the form of XML? You see, already we have Java objects, we got database records. There are different ways to represent the data, right? Already. Now, why do we need this additional data representation again here when you have already learned couple of representations? Okay, what do people think? Why do we need that XML? Why we have to use XML to represent the data? Yes, it's technology agnostic. Okay, fine. You know, especially when the heterogeneous applications, two different applications I can say, which are developed using, let's say, two different languages. For suppose you have Java application and you got .NET application. Now you see the way the data is represented in Java is different from the way the data is represented in .NET. And similarly, the way the data is represented in .NET is different from PHP and other programming languages. Every programming language has got its own data representation, okay, which is different from other programming languages. Then you see, if this is the case here, if two applications, if they want to communicate with each other, if they want to especially exchange the data, then how it is possible, how they can do that? Okay, how it is possible, how two different applications, which is two different data representations, how they can exchange data. So that is where the XML comes into the picture. So it is one of the data representations which is widely accepted. Almost every programming language has got support for this XML. Okay, almost every programming language you'll find that it supports XML. Okay, that means you got the support for processing XML data, whether it is Java, .NET, PHP, whatever it is. Okay, yes. So XML is actually considered as language independent. It is not specific to any language or it is not specific to any platform. Because of this, you see, XML has become the most widely accepted data representation. XML is used widely for this purpose. Okay, yes. That is where the XML comes into the picture to exchange the data between the heterogeneous applications or two different applications here, which are developed using two different languages, heterogeneous applications, I can say. Okay, so because they don't have a common data representation, now they will use this XML. There's something like now you see every person has got their own mother tongue. which is different from another person, of course. For suppose, let's say, so you speak one language, I speak one language, we communicate with each other. So we need a common language. You see, this XML also plays the role of common data representation, irrespective of what programming language it is, or you know what platform it is. It doesn't matter. Okay, fine. So when we talk about Java, you'll find that in Java we got APIs which we can use here to process XML data. You see, for example, now what is the need for that processing XML data? Let's try to understand. Just now, as I told you people. For suppose, let's say some other application, a remote application, is sending some data to this Java application. This Java application is getting some data from some other application. Now this Java application, you see, it has to take this XML data and it has to process this XML data. It has to take that XML data and process it. So now it should read that XML data, and what it should do with that XML data, what do you people think? What it has to do with that XML data? What it has to do with the XML data? So it is supposed to transform that XML data. The Java applications should take this XML data and transform it into a format which your Java application can understand. So what is the standard format here? So into which format that XML data should be transformed? What do you people think? Yes, Java applications here. What is the data representation which is used in the Java application? You see, objects, of course, right? So you'll find that now the application should take that XML data, okay, process it with the help of XML processing APIs, and transform that data, XML data, into Java objects here, so that we can use it in Java. So you see, we have already gone through Hibernate, right? The way we use Hibernate. So what we did, so we used to fetch the records from the database server. Hibernate used to help us to transform that record into objects, right? So here you'll get some XML data. It has to be transformed into Java objects again. Okay, it's the transformation stuff. Okay, you see, to process that XML data, to read the data first of all from the XML documents, we have two standard APIs in Java. One is Java API for XML processing, and the other one is JAXB Java architecture for XML binding. So these are the two different APIs which you got here. These are the two different APIs which you got here to process that XML data. So is anyone familiar with the difference between these two APIs? Is anyone familiar with the difference between these two APIs, JAX-P and JAX-B? Both are used for processing XML data itself. Okay, you'll find that both the APIs are used for the same purpose, that is processing the XML data. Okay, I'll tell you people. You know, the main difference here between JAX-P and JAX-B, I can say that JAX-B is a advanced API which helps us to easily process XML data. You know what? I can say that this is something like similar to your JAX-P and JDBC and Hibernate. So Hibernate is advanced framework, right? Similarly, JAX-P is also same. So generally, if you use JAX-P API, JAX-P, then you have to write a lot of code, hell lot of code to write the transformation code, transform that records into objects and all. So you have to take care of it. You have to take care of it. Okay. But if you use JAX-P, so everything is taken care by that JAX-P itself. So it will take care of you know transforming that XML document to Java objects and all. So we don't have to write much code here. It's pretty easy to use, simple to use API. I can say JAX-P compared to JAX-P. Okay. Yes. So hope you people got it. Yes. Now JAX-B is easy. Um, Most of the stuff, redundant stuff is taken care here in JAX-B compared to JAX-B. And further, when we talk about JAX-P, you'll find that in JAX-P, we have two different types of parsers called as DOM parser and a SAX parser. DOM parser and a SAX parser. DOM stands for Document Object Model. SAX parser for Simple API for XML. Simple API for XML. Yes. So, you know what? We have two different types of parsers here which we can use to parse the XML documents and accordingly use them to process the XML data. Yes. So what is a parser? Is anyone familiar with it? Have you people heard about this parsers? Parser. So parser, I can say that it is a program, you know, which helps us, especially it helps us, we developers, it is going to help we developers to parse that XML documents. So XML documents, the DOM parsers are responsible, the parsers are responsible for reading that XML document and transform it into a form, intermediary form, I can say, which we developers can use it to process that XML data easily. Okay, directly reading that XML documents and processing it, it will take a lot of time for us, and it is complicated. You know what? Directly reading the XML data and processing it, it is complicated. So this DOM parser and SAX parser, you see this parsers here in between, they're going to help us in this regard. So they will read the XML documents and they will read the data and transform it into intermediary format, I can say, and that format will be easy for us to read that XML data and process it accordingly. Now, what are those formats and all? I'll talk about it. Okay, but I'll do it in another session. So today I thought of taking the session for another 1.5 hour or so. But you know what? I'm sorry, I'm a little tired today. Let's do one thing. We'll have a class over the weekdays, a special class. Especially, I'll conduct a long session this weekdays, and I will complete this XML part definitely. In couple of days, I'm going to do that. Okay. Yes. So definitely, as soon as possible, I'll complete it. So I'll stop the session here. Okay, and we'll meet at our regular times. Uh, just a minute. Here we got just a minute. Vani, Tarun, and who else? Okay. Manasa, Ritvik, just now Manasa dropped and Ritvik. Okay, you people, your batch, you have a class at 8:30 p.m. Indian time on Monday. Okay, yes, Monday. So I'll be talking about Spring for you people. Your Spring class is on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Indian time. I'll mail you people again. A reminder. Yeah, others, most of them they didn't join. Yeah. So that's all. I'll stop it here. And the others, rest of the batch, you know, you will be having a regular class at your time. That is 8 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So we'll meet on Monday at the rate 8 p.m. Central Time. That means it is Tuesday morning for you people. So we'll have a class again, and I'll be talking about Hibernate. I'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you. Thank you all. Yes. In weekdays also I'll conduct one long session for you people. Yes. Okay.